morning, everybody. Hi, welcome to the first day of 2 days in international. Again, I'm gonna, just for the sake of recording, I'm gonna repeat. We're gonna take a brief look at China, okay, which is gonna be chapter 1 in your book. And then we're going to hone in on the southeast region, all right, of Asia, and that's Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia, all right. PowerPoints are up for you guys in Moodle to look at, so please, I encourage you to go back and look at that because there's also Japan and Korea, okay? So let's look a little bit at Chinese cuisine. When y'all think of Chinese food, what do you think of? What is the biggest staple?
Sure, fried rice.
There you go. And that's, without the shrimp, that's my favorite. Oh my gosh. What else? What are some other delicacies that China's known for in the Western world?
Orange chicken.
Orange chicken. So if you were to break that down, wouldn't you say they use a lot of flavor and spices and things like that? Right? They really use a lot of flavors that we generically don't use, correct? So when you talk about China, what's interesting is most of them dine at home, okay? They don't really dine out like we do. Yes, large bowls of rice are at the center of every meal. And I've never been in a Chinese restaurant where you didn't get a whopping load of rice, right? The best morsels of food, did you know that the best morsels of food are given to the elders? They have a respect for elders that I think us in the Western world kind of have lost. They really respect their elders. Their elders are held to the highest esteem for their knowledge and things like that. And of course, meals are very balanced and they're served all at once. Now, you can look there when you go through the PowerPoint. They talk about language, philosophy, and religion. Obviously, the core philosophies is Confucianism, all right? All I think about is feng shui.
Confucius.
Huh?
Confucius.
Confucius Day, exactly. That's what I think. I think about feng shui. But they have Taoism, Buddhism, yin yang, you know, good, bad, evil, good, whatever. And then the 5 elements, which is earth, wind, fire, water, and air, right? Or I said earth, wind. What's the other one? Y'all can help me with that.
Heart. It's spirit.
Okay, there you go. 90% of China is actually Han origin, all right? And the primary language is Mandarin, all right? 2/3 of China is rugged, steep plateaus. I know the other day I saw on TV, I can't remember what I was watching, and I was watching people climb up all these stairs, and me and the husband looked at each other and we were like, oh, we'd get up 10 stairs and we'd have to turn around and go back down. There's no way. So anyway, you can look through that. They have abundant crops. Their winters are warm in the south and obviously cold in the north, a lot like here. Their farming and agriculture, Western China has short growing seasons. And these are the things, these highlighted points, these are things that you guys need to remember, okay? So that when you get ready to take tests and exams, you understand the different agriculture aspects of these countries. What is their primary food base, which obviously is rice. Northern cities have dry, long winters, so they grow millet, wheat, and corn. Central China is the Rice Bowl. They have rich agriculture in central China. And southeast China has long growing seasons. They grow rice, sugarcane, fruits, and they fish, okay, because they're near the ocean there. So we're going to move on to the historical perspective. So let's look at the economy, harmony, and balance, all right? when they talk about balance. Balance and harmony are keys to Chinese cooking. The Asians consider food as medicine, right? You always hear of Chinese medicine, so they consider that medicine. Yin is the feminine, cool. Dark is male, light, fatty, dense. So when they are preparing food, they really hone in on this. They will have the cool, light, airy in their food, but they're also going to balance that with something that is fatty and dense. So when you think about, let's think about for me, I think about sushi rolls, right? You have your grain there, but you have your light vegetables, your cool vegetables, but then you also have like your avocado and stuff. You have that dense fatty in there, so it's well balanced. Food is life, okay, for Asian countries. We need to remember that. Food is life. Actually, I wish we would adopt a little more of the Asian mentality here, right? In particular, I can't help but think of kimchi, and you guys are going to be making some kimchi, okay? Over there, they eat kimchi every day. We're just catching on to drinking pickle juice or vinegar every day, right? How many of you are drinking pickle juice or doing the whole vinegar diet every day? Or any of y'all doing that? You drink it every day, right? Okay. All right. Yes, Robert. Are you raising your hand or you got a comment?
This comment, I do.
You got a comment, or are you saying you drink it? I mean, we're kind of behind the 8 ball, right? These Asian countries, they've been doing this forever. It's part of their daily staple. They make pickled veggies, fermented, called kimchi, and they eat it every day as a staple. So we're just catching on to that. They've adapted to economy. They have massive populations. Think of China. They have billions upon billions upon billions of people, right? They have limited resources. And I'm going to say they have limited resources because of their economy, because they're so overpopulated, if you will. Don't quote me on this, but I've heard somewhere down the line that they're limited to how many children they can have because they're so populated. Has anybody else heard that? They can have one, Josh? Yeah. So yeah. You know, with that being said, they have to conserve their energy, right? So you need to think about this as a whole, and then you need to think about this, how does this relate to their food, their heritage, their history, all of that. They have a willingness to try any ingredient and the quickness in cooking it, okay? Traditional Chinese flavors, if you look at your PowerPoint and in your book, these are the flavors that connect their health and diet. They have sour, obviously, which is their vinegar, wines, lemon, sweet, which is their rock sugar, honey, sorghum, and you can read how that affects bodies. Bitter, you know, like bitter melons, wine, cabbages, pungent, your Szechuan. How many of y'all remember your Szechuan peppers from first class, right? From first Chef Garcia, spice identification. How many of y'all passed that, by the way? That was hard. Yeah, you did? I passed it, but barely. Yeah, me too. But Szechuan pepper, chili peppers, you know, this heat, which I'm not personally real fond of, but it's actually good for you to have a little bit of that pungent, that spice. And then, of course, salty with the soy sauce, MSG and salt, okay? Regional cuisine, obviously, you can look through that. There are basic 4 schools of food flavor and techniques. So Northern obviously focuses more on rice. They have a more pungent, robust, delicate flavor. Their main style of cooking would be the Mongolian fire pit, all right? So these are things you need to pay attention to. In China, in the northern region, their style of cooking is going to be the Mongolian fire pit. All right. Yes, Robert. RJ.
Do we have to go through the spices again? The test?
No. But it doesn't hurt if you can recognize them, okay? And because again, I mean, when you start looking at these recipes, what I remember is, oh my gosh, they use so many next to India with all of the curries and things like that. They have a lot of spices, and they're not afraid to use a lot of spices. And it's those spices and the way they prep their food is why they're so healthy compared to their Western counterparts compared to us. They're noted in the northern region for Peking duck. If you ever wonder where Peking duck comes from, there you go, northern China. The coastal obviously is fish and seafood. They have a more refined palate. They're more creative. They like clay pot cooking, and congee is a food that would come from there. Western, obviously Western, I find it funny. Western has the heat. If you look at Western areas, they have the Szechuan and the Hunan. Spicy and very complex flavors. Your Kung Pao comes from them. General, how do you say it? General Tso's chicken, and then red chili paste. That all comes from that region of China. And then, of course, you have the Southern, which is going to be your warmer climate. It's kind of crazy. Their food kind of is modified and created based on what? Their location, their environment. That's the word I'm looking for. So the Southern has simple, light, innovative dishes. Of course, it's rice-centered, ginger, rice vinegar, mustard, soy sauce is all of those. Cantonese style of cooking, and then abundant seafood, obviously. So the biggest thing I want to point out here, and then we're going to move on to the Asia, Southern Asia, Southern Asia region, your Chinese flavor foundation. When you look at this, you're going to see this kind of be repetitive as we look at the other Asian countries. They are big on boy sang, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. Boa sang. Has anybody ever heard of that? If you have, correct me if I'm saying that wrong. But green onion, ginger, garlic, of course, soy sauce, rice vinegar, sesame oil, dried black mushrooms, fermented black beans. They're very big on fermentation. The star anise is really popular in Chinese cuisine. And then again, you've got your spice from your Szechuan pepper. So those are the flavor foundations. If you're cooking Chinese food, you are having this foundation somehow, some way in your cooking, okay? I'm not going to go into all of the foundation of Chinese diet from a starch standpoint. I'll just point out rice, noodles, and dumplings. And then steps to wok stir frying. Let me encourage you to pay attention to the steps in wok stir frying. You need to highlight that. You need to write that down. You're going to need to know that not only on test, but you're going to need to know that when you come back to the kitchen, okay? Because you are going to be stir frying in a wok when you come back, all right? So make sure you note that. I'll briefly go through it. Preheat your wok. Dribble small amount of cold oil in your wok around the edges. You're going to season oil, sear your meats. You're going to, it says wok no more than 1/3 full. You're going to have rapid movement of your ingredients. You're going to have little liquid to steam. And then, of course, the final blending with your spices and your sauces. So how they do this, the steps to frying in a wok, stir frying in a wok, are very specific, and you need to know those steps, okay? All right, now, with that being said, we're going to lead. That kind of gives you a highlight on China. Now we're going to take a look at the Southeast region, which is going to include Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia. All right, so cuisine background is very parallel to the China background. Of course, unlike us, most of them eat at home. Now, that's not to say they don't have restaurants, but most of them eat at home, all right? They greet guests by raising both their hands, palms joined. You know, y'all have seen that, right? They do that bow and they have their hands joined, and so that is a greeting. That is the way they greet. Yes, Latasha. So lightly touching the body between the chest and the forehead. You've seen that before. So those are ways that they greet each other. Again, rice. You know, this is why they kind of honed in and set this class up in modules, because there's a lot of rice. And that's at the center of everything. That's the center of everything on the table, and then everything else is around it. In Thailand in particular, there's very little meat served. Okay, so keep that in mind. In Thailand, there's very little meat served. Most of Thailand is Buddhist, all right, and the official language is Thai, all right. So you shouldn't miss that. Thailand speaks Thai, all right. Their climate is river rich, all right, river rich. And again, make sure you're paying attention to each of these geographical areas, because that's going to kind of help guide you and plant in your mind the foods that are in that area. Okay, Laos to North Cambodia, to East Myanmar, to West close to Malaysia. That is the river area that we're looking at, and there's a map in your book that you can refer to for that. There are 65 million. I was shocked when I saw that, people in Thailand. North is mountainous, and of course, south is tropical ocean. I would imagine a lot like our Caribbean. Thailand has at least 2 major and 7 minor river systems, so it's huge, all right? Farming and agriculture, of course, they have cash crops, which are rice, corn, sugarcane, vegetables, and fruit. 2/3 of Thailand is mountainous and hilly with poor soil. But guess what? Even under those conditions, these farmers still prevail, right? They raise most of the world's tapioca. Did y'all realize that? Who knows what tapioca is? No? Somebody Google it and give me a definition. Tapioca.
Oh, I was about to say, it's usually like the glutinous, like tapioca pearls and things like that. I've seen in Asian cuisine and like the tapioca pearl shops like boba.
Right. And do you know what they're used for in particular?
I just know about the drink with like the milk teas.
Yeah. They can be used as thickeners, and that's typically what you're going to add tapioca. But the little pearls, like you've heard of tapioca pudding, things like that. That's what it is. It's like a little grain-like thing. So somebody can Google that and give me the hardcore definition for it. I'd appreciate it. Government dissuades growth of opium and marijuana. So just leaving that there, okay? All right, we're going to move on. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these. Here's the flavor profile. A lot of this is going to become repetitive. Rice is the foundation. It's a sacred importance. So if anybody says, what do you remember about international, in particular Asian countries, I'm thinking you better say rice, okay? You need to say rice. Thai cooking is strong on flavor and methods. Their methods are influenced from India and China, okay? And their methods are, they're historic. They are generations long. They have 2 distinct cuisines, peasant and palace. So Peasant obviously would be what is more in your, your less wealthy families. And then of course, palace would be your richer, well-off families. Of course, entrees are served with rice. Dishes are brothy. They usually are soups or curries, like coconut curry. Side dishes are usually dry cooked foods or noodles. And then they blend a lot of contrasts. They have sweet and spicy, sour, hot, salty, wet, dry, crisp, soft, smooth, and chunky textures. And they usually have all of those. Did somebody look up tapioca? If you did, go ahead and give it to me.
The definition that comes up straight from the dictionary is a starchy substance in the form of hard white grains obtained from cassava and used in cooking for puddings and other dishes.
There you go. It's a grain. So a little
and of course, it's got a whole freaking Wikipedia page too. So
there you go. So it's a grain that they use, and they use it kind of like bulgur or any other grain, couscous, something like that. And you can make tapioca. I remember my mom used to make tapioca pudding, and it was really good. And they, you can have, there's different sizes of tapioca pearls. You know what I'm gonna say? Think of daggum, what's the rice I'm looking for? Anyway, it'll come back to me. But yeah, so it is a grain. So I'll keep that in mind. It's also used as a thickener. The starch that it releases, you have tapioca, which can be used as a natural thickener. All right, so let's talk about Thai curry paste. How many of y'all have had Asian food where you've had curries? No? It's interesting texture. Kara, since you are a big fan of the Chinese and Asian foundation, have you had curries? Have you dealt with curry paste?
I haven't dealt with it, but I've seen it in a lot of recipes that I've looked at.
Right.
For the different Asian countries.
Right. RJ, did you have your hand raised? You've had Thai curries?
I have, but I learned my lesson too. Had to have a block of ice the next day.
Are you saying they're a little spicy?
Yes.
All right. Well, they have some basic categories here. South India, the influence that they have coconut milk and wet masalas. Now, you're going to learn the difference between a wet and a dry masala when you return to class. Yeah, RJ? Okay. And you'll learn more about these individual categories. They actually have yellow curry, which is the mildest. So if you ever go to a Thai restaurant, pick something that looks yellow, okay? That's going to be your mildest curry. It's usually used on vegetables, beef, and chicken. They have red, which they pair with eggs, poultry, and fish. They have green, which again is vegetable, poultry, and fish. Jungle, let me tell you, if you hear the word jungle tataria, you better run, because that's hot, spicy, and that's from north central Thailand. And then masaman, which is from the Muslim culture, and that's rich, meaty, delicious lamb, beef, or chicken, okay? And you'll learn a little bit more about that when you come back. Regional Thailand, again, make sure you look at the different regional aspects of these countries, because northern typically is foreign spicy. Northeastern is a popular rich cuisine. Central is mild and sweet. I need to live in central Thailand. And southern is two regions, tropical, simple, and flavorful. I don't know. I might could go to southern too. Which one would y'all prefer? Y'all prefer the southern?
Southern.
Yeah. South. Who thinks they would like to live in the northern poor and spicy. Not me. I don't like spicy. Yep. RJ?
Just a comment. I mean, just to get out the norm.
Yeah, you would do that to get out of the norm, huh? All
Vacation
right,
on. Vacation on.
all right, so we've covered that. Now, the Thai Flavor Foundation, again, this is going to be a little different from China. I want y'all to kind of envision this. Each one of these regions, even though they have common grounds or common foundations with China, they are influenced by other factors, okay? So they've adopted other influences, either by India, they could be influenced by Western worlds. So some of this is variable in different countries. So with Thai, their flavor base is shallots, ginger, garlic, lemongrass, chili, cilantro root, okay? And this is one thing that I do need to get through, you guys. Each of these countries, you're going to need to know that flavor base. So when you're studying, make sure you hone in on those flavor bases, okay? Make sure you know what base is going to go with which country, all right? Fish sauce is very popular in Thai flavoring. Palm sugar, shrimp base, bird's eye chilies. I don't know about that one. Galangal. Kaffir lime, and then Thai basil. How many of you have had Thai basil versus regular basil? It has a little bit of different flavor, doesn't it? To me, it has a little more spicy flavor than regular basil. Yeah, so anyway, so the cuisine background of Vietnamese, again, y'all can look at that. Dining at home, elders face the door and ear first. Here we go again. All of these countries, when I get really old, I want to live there because they value their elders. Again, rice, loads of fresh greens and herbs. They actually pass their bowls. So when they sit down to a table, they're passing their bowls. The language is, again, Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism. Scholars are highly regarded. So you could go over there and have an education and be highly regarded. And, of course, Vietnamese language. So y'all can go through those. Again, they greet by the joining of the two hands. They are a blend. Now, their influence, the Vietnamese in particular, they're masters of fresh fusion. But guess what? They're heavily influenced by the French, okay? They are heavily influenced by the French. They prefer stir frying, chopsticks, deep frying. They have French bread. So if you go over there, how many of y'all have had a true French bagel? Anybody had a true French bagel? No, there's nothing like it. If you ever get the opportunity to have a true French bagel, get it. The flavors, the texture, the chew, it's all beautiful. So anyway, I want y'all to go through these, and again, each bite you're getting, I know it's sounding repetitive, but you notice there's a lot of parallels. Each bite of Vietnamese cuisine parallels Chinese food. They do contrast, sweet, sour, salty, spice, crunchy, smooth, pungent, aromatic. And fresh ingredients, guess what? They don't have a lot of processed food like we do. All right, so they eat a lot of unprocessed natural foods. The regional cuisines, y'all can look through that. I'm not going to go through all of that if you, again, view your PowerPoints. And of course, their flavor foundations. This is important. Their flavor foundations is different from the Chinese and from the Thai. Vietnamese has green onion, ginger, garlic, shallot, chilies, lemongrass. They use the fish sauce nuoc mam, and I know I'm butchering how to say that. They have dried shrimp, They use different herbs like cilantro and catfish and mint. Again, they have the caper lime leaf, crispy shallots, caramel sauce, because they are influenced by the French, and then palm sugar. You can look at the cuisine background of Indonesia. It pretty much is parallel across with some differences. So please go back. They're heavily influenced by the Muslim because they're 90% of Indonesia is actually Muslim. So they have a Muslim influence. In particular, I want to point out their meals are communal. Who knows what communal is? Who can tell me what a communal meal is? Anybody?
It's basically the same as Italian family-style eatery where everyone gathers together and enjoys the meal all at the same time, and you make sure that you have enough for everyone to be able to enjoy without having to cook more.
Absolutely. So their meals are communal. Everybody gets together. They cook together. They sit down and eat together. How many of y'all do that with your families now? I think the Western world has kind of lost some of that. You do that, Latasha? Sit down and have communal family meals? Why don't you describe your communal meals, Latasha?
What? We just sit down at the table and eat dinner together.
Yeah, and that's a communal meal. But you would be surprised how many families don't do that anymore. They probably are doing it more now that everybody's been on a stay-at-home order, right? But up until that, I mean, parents are so busy carrying kids to different functions. You're eating fast food because it's quick, easy. You pick it up on the way home. Or mom and dad works, so everybody picks up something, comes home, you know. The Western world has really lost the art of communal meals. We've lost that connection with each other. Yes, RJ?
I think from our family, we hash out problems that we have, so it's kind of good. It's kind of good.
When you have a communal meal and you bring a group of different ages together, think of what you can learn. All right, women learn that life with their husband is just like everybody else's life with their husband, and vice versa. Men with their wives. Elders share their experiences. Young people are learning. These are things I personally, I feel like we're missing. I want you to pay attention to the geographic and the climate of Indonesia. If you didn't know, this is the 4th largest population in the world. All right? The world's 4th largest population. And it includes 17,500 islands. It contains 400 volcanoes. 100 of them are active. So can you imagine the turbulence that affects that country with all of that? And they survive. So take a look at the farming and agriculture in Indonesia. The first Indonesian cookbook, I found this interesting. I want y'all to pay attention. 1967. It was after I was born that they created their first cookbook. So if they didn't create their first cookbook until 1967, how do you think they taught each other how to cook? Somebody weigh in on that.
They probably just taught like word of mouth or like families, like passed down from families or something like that. I don't know.
Absolutely, Robert. You're absolutely correct. So that's how they handed down not recipes, but knowledge from generation to generation to generation. These communal meals brought people together to cook in the kitchen. There was no need for a cookbook. Grandmother taught mother, mother taught daughter. So that's important. Also, I want you to note that Indonesia was influenced by Spanish. The chilies came from the Spanish, and then Chinese introduced noodle, soy, and tofu. They are mainly defined by their seafood and the coconut. And again, what's the most important dish?
Rice.
Rice. Rice. Rice. Everybody say rice together.
Rice. Rice.
Rice. There you go. Rice. Sambal. Y'all will be making some sambal when y'all return. Yay! That is uniquely Indonesian. So do not confuse that with any other area. Okay? That is uniquely Indonesian. All right? So again, you can look at the regional cuisine. And then, of course, in Indonesian Flavor Foundation, they use a combination of onion, garlic, ginger, and chilies. Robert, turn your mic off for me. They have cat manis. They use shrimp paste, candle nuts. I've never heard of candle nuts before. Y'all can Google that. Cubeb pepper, Salem leaf, sambal, and coconut. All right. So in conclusion, with looking at China and in particular the Southeast Asian areas, Indonesia and Thailand and Vietnam, what I need you to get from that is make sure you understand the different flavor profiles and what makes them uniquely together. Obviously, that's rice, their respect for their elders, the mental, spiritual health in their cooking, what they bring to that, the feng shui, if you will, style of cooking that they have. And definitely look at the differences in their flavor foundations, because the flavor foundations, while some of them overlap, they're uniquely different. And that's what defines one country over the other, okay? And also how they're influenced. Which country was influenced by the French, which included, you know, like the caramel and the baguettes? Who can tell me which country that was? Gotta tell me who's listening.
Was it Europe?
Huh?
Was it Europe?
We didn't study Europe. We're studying Asian countries. Which one of the three we just went through?
Vietnam.
Exactly. Vietnam. Vietnam. And this is what I need y'all to get, okay? When you leave today and you're looking at these PowerPoints, I need y'all to get, you need to be really honing in on the flavor profiles and who influenced these countries. Vietnam, their greatest influence was China and French. You need to know that, okay? Make sure you know that. Make sure you know their flavor profiles. Make sure you know some of the basics of the regions. You don't need to know every single bit of that, but have an understanding if they're in a southern region and it's surrounded by water, what is their primary protein? Anybody? Fish,
Right.
seafood, right? If they're in the mountainous ranges, what is their primary food source? If they're in the southern, or not southern, that would be near the waters, but if they're in the mid, what is their primary dishes? Okay? That is going to conclude today. Does anybody have any questions about international, what we're doing via Moodle, and what we went over? Nope. All right, make sure you go back and view these PowerPoints, okay? These are going to be very, very helpful as you prepare to come back to class and prepare to go into the labs, because that's where you're going to be starting, is in Asia, all right, in your Asian countries. Yes, RJ?
Can you tell me the due outs that's due today?
What is due today is going to be your syllabus, obviously. There is no pre-test for international. I don't have that, so that's not up there. You do need to view the PowerPoints again because all I did was hit highlights. I did not go through the entire PowerPoint word for word. Make sure you do your reading assignment. And let me encourage you to do this. Read first and view your PowerPoints. Please understand, PowerPoints are there to kind of help hone your reading in, but it's not a replacement for actually reading through these chapters, all right? So you've got your reading assignment. You do have homework, Module 1, Asian countries, and that consists of questions. You got questions on China, Japan, Korea, Thailand, and Vietnam. And if you click on that homework, Module 1, Asian countries, it'll tell you which questions you need to answer. And you need to submit that tomorrow. So you do have homework due today, all right? That needs to be submitted tomorrow. And then your next homework is pretty simple. That's due for tomorrow. And that's just visit and online. If we were in class, you would actually be going across the street to visit the Asian market. But since we are distant learning, I turn this into an online Asian or Indian market. So locate one, okay? And just pick out an item. And then, you need to do a little bit of research. What is the item? What country is that item used in? Find a recipe that uses it and tell me what country it's in. How would you use it, cook, prepare it? And these questions are listed for you to answer. What dish or dishes? So you're going to basically you're going to pick out an item. You're going to tell me what country it's used in. You're going to tell me how it's prepared. You're going to tell me, what dish, what type of recipe is it. If it's a curry, if it's something that goes in a curry, you're going to tell me it's a curry. You're going to tell me how you make a curry. You're going to tell me what dish a curry is found in. You're going to discuss the flavors, its appearance, whatever. And that can just be in your words, okay? You're going to tell me if in the market, if it's fresh, frozen, how is it stored? Is it seasonal? Is it something that they only get, certain times of the year? And not all of y'all are going to have answers to every one of these, but I expect you to try to answer every one of them, okay? If it's something that's available year-round, you're going to put available year-round, all right? And then you're going to give me the cost of the item and then any other information that you may deem, worthy of letting me know about that, okay? If it's squid, or something like that, what do you think about it? Give me a little personal insight into what made you choose that, all right? Any questions on that?
Do it need to be in PowerPoint or Word document?
All of this can be straight within Moodle. You can just type it in a text in Moodle, or you can do a Word document and attach it as a file.
Thanks, you.
Okay, no PowerPoints. Not for these 2 days. And then if you go back and look at Moodle on day 2, all right, again, you will meet tomorrow. I'll probably pick one of these and just kind of do a quick PowerPoint and do a quick lecture. You definitely have your reading assignment. Please make sure you are looking at all them PowerPoints. And then you do have a homework, again, which is answering questions from each of those countries. And I want y'all to turn that in on Monday, even though we're going into another class, that you've got all weekend to do those questions and turn that in. I'm sorry, not on Monday, on Tuesday. Okay. On your day 3, which technically is not international, but I want you to have your homeworks in on day 3, or you can turn them in over the weekend as you complete them. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, if you think about it, your homeworks, Just get them done over the weekend. All right. Today's Friday, right? Woo, woo, Friday. So, you know, you've got all weekend to do these homeworks and answer these questions. But day 1 homeworks are due on Monday. Day 2 homeworks are due on Tuesday, even though we are moving to another class on Tuesday. All right. Any other questions? Who's excited about international? Besides, okay, Latasha, cool. So Chef Peter or whoever, they're going to have some excited peeps when y'all come back. So dive in.
Chef.
Huh?
So are these last 2 classes we had, are they the most stressful ones that we got to deal with? So that was very stressful.
International was stressful?
No. We just started international. I'm talking about the last 2 classes that we had.
Management marketing? It was stressful? Come on, guys.
It was a little bit. It was a little bit.
Well, you got to think, well, y'all give me a minute. Let me go ahead and bounce off of our recording, and then we'll talk a little bit, okay? Everybody wave bye.